This is code.org, and we are continuing on our Store Manager Project Day journey, which is great. All right, so what we have here, or what I have here, is my furniture superclass and my subclasses, couch and dresser. Couch, dresser, bam. All right, now we need our user input. Now let me go over to the current rubric. User input, guys, I want to pay attention to a few things here. The user input part of this assignment uses the scanner class to allow a user to interact with the object in the program. And, don't let this word scare you, uses a sentinel value to continue receiving input until the user indicates that they are finished. Now I thought, oh yeah, so I copied and pasted the definition of sentinel value from code.org just to remind ourselves. All right, sentinel value, a special value used to notify a program to stop accepting input. So we've seen this when integers are used. So it might say hit 1 for freedom, hit 2 for high fives, and hit 3 for exit. Right? Enter those keys. That's what a sentinel value is. So we need to use the scanner class and we need to use a sentinel value. We got this. All right. So the scanner class, what does that do? What does that enable us to do? The scanner class was hit upon in user input. So if you're uncomfortable with it, you might want to take a look at that lesson. It enables us to, well, scan the input of a user. It enables us to grab what they're typing and use it in our application. So this was all test stuff that I already had, guys. I'm just going to kill it. And by kill it, I mean delete it. Murder is bad. Thank you. All right. Now, if you want to be fancy, you could create another Java class, like mystore.java. I'm going to leave it as mycouncil.java. It doesn't ask us specifically to create a class, so this will meet the requirements. And then I'm going to go ahead and import java.util scanner, right? We're going to import this package to allow us to use it. Now, this is a Java utility package, so we have access to it regardless of whether we can see it up here. Okay, now that we have the scanner, and again, if you're unsure about any of this, check out the user input lesson again. Now that we have the scanner, we need to set up some variables. First, we're going to need a scanner, I'm going to call it input. We're going to need to instantiate a scanner input object. And so new, and then we need, right here, we put system in. And what this parameter, what this argument, what this does is we're just letting the system, we're letting the program know, hey, we're going to be collecting input from a user right now. So system in. And now we can use this as for our input. All right. Now we're going to do, I'm going to use the variable choice. So I'm just going to call this int choice. I will set it to a default value of 0. And, my program, it gives us the option that we can set this up, class, interact with the user. And I was wondering, I'm like, all right, management or customer. And I think it tells us, let me search for this real quick. Implement user interaction. Use the scanner class to use scanner class to obtain user input to interact with the store. Implement user interaction to allow owners or customers. So either one. If you want to be super fancy, you can do both. I'm choosing customers. Now, since I'm going to have customers interact, actually I might do that up here, I'm going to go ahead and instantiate some furniture, a couch and a dresser object. So couch, I'll stick with the naming convention we've used, my couch. It's going to be equal to new couch. Now, what do I put in here? Well, if I'm unsure, I could just go to my couch.java class. I'm not going to use the default, right? The no argument constructor. I'm going to make use of the one where I can already enter information, such as the name, weight, and fabric. So let me hammer some of that in here. All right, so my couch, I gave it the product name of cow sofa. Cows are my favorite animal. They have best friends. That is the only reason why it is cool. Cows have best friends. regardless, this is the weight of the couch. Yes, I did look up the average weight of cows to decide on this number. Yes, I did. Leather, because is the type of fabric. All right, now we need a dresser. All right, pada. Instantiate my dresser. I said the name of this dresser is Dairy Crates. You know, I have a theme here. 54 pounds and then 4 drawers. And I could figure out what these all are by looking at my constructor. All right, so with that out of the way, let me go ahead and utilize this int choice. If this is a store at the top, I'm going to print out something fun. I want them to know, hey, you're in a cool store, and I want a theme for this. So I'm going to just do system out print and go from there. Now I'm going to just use print for all of this. Print ln would automatically go to the next line, but I want to keep this straightforward. Bam. So all I'm saying here is, hey, Farm Furniture is the name of my store. Moo. Oh, that's important. I did a fancy star thing. It's not fancy, it's lame. I don't care. I like it. I think it's cool. Leave me alone. And I'm telling it a new line. Just slash n is new line. All right. Now we're going to need to use a loop. I am a while loop. So to do this, first I'm going to say, as long as the choice is greater than or equal to 0. Now, why 0? Well, I set it to 0, so I want the loop to run at least once. Now, once this kicks off, I want to start collecting user input. So I'm going to ask my first question. All right, so here's what I just did, right? I asked them. Now, keep in mind, guys, I'm going to use slash in at the beginning. This is just new line. We're not going to see in printed this screen. The reason I'm doing this is, one, having it at the end can get a bit hairy for something like this. And two, I like that when they enter a number, when it's in this format, it will be, and that's why I have a space right here at the end, the number they enter will be right here on the screen and not on the next line and the console. And we can test this, well, literally right now. But first, let's talk about, then I say choice is going to be equal to input next int. That just says, hey, whatever they slapped onto the screen there, grab the numeral, the integer value, and assign it to choice. So what should happen is if they enter -1, the program should, I hit the bottom of my loop, it's going to go back to the top and say, hey, what's their choice? If it's -1, -1 is not greater than or equal to 0, and the program finishes. Let me just test what we have. Okay, 2 should run again, but it's just going to keep going, right? So now, -1, and kapow. So far, so good. All right, now, something odd with integers and scanner objects is next int does not collect any other information than that integer. It leaves everything else there to not be consumed. That sounds complicated, but the solution isn't. We just need, after this, input. Okay. We need input next line, and this is just kind of clearing out the scanner in a way. Input next line. When an integer is used, because it's going to leave that residual new line character. If that sounds complex, just trust me, this is what we got to do. And we've seen it once before. All right, now I'm going to use 2 conditional statements, right? 2 if statements to check. So what did we say here? I said 1 for couch, 2 for dresser. Let me slam some of that in there. So if. All right, so here we go. If choice is equal to 1, else if choice is equal to 2. Now, what do we want to have in here? Well, I said 1 for couch, so I'm going to go ahead and start printing out a question for their couch. What I'm going to do here, guys, is I want to show off that you can use my set methods within these, right? I have a set fabric, I have a get fabric. Same within furniture. I have all these set name, set weight, get, right? And I want to show off that those are actually usable. To do that, I am going to low-key let the user set their own aspect of this furniture. I'll show you what I mean. Let me get some system out print lines in here. All right, what do we got here? So what I did is I asked 2 questions. So if they choose couch, I say, what type of fabric do you want the couch to be? And then right under this, I say string fabric input is equal to input next line. Now this time, this next line here is going to grab whatever they type in. So if they change the fabric to linen, I have no idea, then that's what this fabric input string will be equal to. Now, down here, if they choose to, it's a dresser. I ask, what should the new dresser be named? Now, in part, I'm asking this, guys, because I want to show off furniture allows for set name, right? Whereas dresser, my subclass, and couch both allow also for mutator methods like set. But I wanted to show off the parent class as well. Now, keep in mind, if you do something with next int down here, it is a good idea to still put input dot next line underneath it. All right, so name input. Now, how am I going to adjust my objects? I'm going to, just like I said, use their setter method. So cool. All right, so that should take care of this. Let me just test it as is. We'll see if there's a bug. What fabric? So I entered 1, and this is what I should get. I want it to be red, which isn't a fabric. Okay, that's great. That's what I expect. Let me enter 2. It's always good to test a lot. I want the name to be Fred. And now -1. All right, so far, so good. Now, we have set this, but I'd like to show off that we have. I want to show the user that they have been able to change these too. It also allows me to show off the getter methods. So all right, I want to talk about this real quick. This is my first example. I'll throw one down here in a moment. Now, keep in mind, guys, /n is new line. I should maybe put that somewhere, but /n is new line, so that won't be printed. We'll just see what, blah, 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 blah. All right, /n new line. Now I say, great, we have a comfortable couch with, and I'm using my couch get fabric. And then I'm adding to the end of it a string, which is just an exclamation point. If this looks weird to you, if you don't like calling this method within here, it's also fine and completely readable to be like, the couch fabric, and then do blah, 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 get fabric, my couch get fabric. There is nothing wrong with doing something like this either. They are identical and correct. All right, that being said, bam. Here we go. And now let me go ahead and do dressers. Well, all right, here we are. Same thing, rad. We have a dresser that weighs. I'm going to get the weight. Finally, we're going to print it to string. Now, let me just make sure I'm showing you off I'm showing you what's going on. So, set fabric right here. What does it do? We grab the fabric, this one, the classes instance variable, and we set it using this method. So whatever I put in here, which when I answer this, like I did last time, that would be red, the fabric would now be red, which doesn't make sense, but work with me here. Then we call get fabric. What does that do? All it does is spit out what we just changed, the fabric. Now, dresser, when we do set name, there's no set name in dresser. However, this is extending furniture, and we call super. So it knows, oh yeah, I'm also built on top of furniture, goes and looks at furniture, and is going to run set name, and then, or no, yeah, set name and get name. Did I just write wait here? There we are. Bam. All right. Finally, I want to use toString because it's fancy and I like it, just to put out all of the information for these items. All right. And so again, system out. Oh, what just happened? All right. So now we got it. System out, full details, and then I'm just executing my couch to string, gives me that information that I need. I'm going to zoom out. There's a lot of code here. And I can't see it all. Let me give this program a shot. Bud bam. Ooh, nothing broke so far. High five to you on the other side of this computer thing. Screen. That doesn't make sense. Let's do couch. What type of fabric do you want for the couch? Plastic? I don't know, guys. Great, we have a comfortable couch with plastic. Full details product couch. Name, cow sofa. Weight, that. Fabric, plastic. Now this right here with plastic is the get method. This right here is the toString method. And I can keep going. I could hit 2, and why not? Let's go to the dresser. What should be the dresser be named? Fred the dresser. If your name's Fred, my bad man. Rad. We have a dresser named Fred. Full details. There's the information. I'm going to go ahead and do couch one more time to make sure nothing's broken yet. And, oh gosh, wooden fabric. I don't know. Cool. And now let's do a -1 to quit. But, that's pretty fancy. All right. Let's go through what's happening here. I'm going to try to say this super fast because one, we're hitting upon some topics that we've already learned. And 2, let's go. I want to go over this whole thing though super fast because missing one tiny detail makes this really hard to read. You can be you can be 99.8% correct on your program. It is perfect and it doesn't run at all. So I just want to hit upon some of these concepts, point them out to make sure we're on the same page. Now, what do? First, I have my class here. I have my main function. I wasn't going to do other methods within this class. That's fine. I then make sure you import scanner. I then instantiate a scanner object and I'm going to direct the program to know that there's input coming, which I do with system in. I then create, for me, you don't have to do this, by the way. You don't have to pre-populate objects. Maybe you don't want to. Maybe your system's only for the manager and what you do is set throughout this. Your program can be completely different than mine. It should look like your program, not like mine exactly. All right, but I set up 2 objects. I instantiate 2 objects, couch and dresser, with these items. This runs these constructors here, and it provides the couch. It sets these instant variables, fabric, and since the couch extends furniture, the couch also gets their name and weight set by this. Same with dresser. Now, I notify the user what the name of my company is, and as long as choice is greater than equal to 0. Originally, choice is 0. I set it to be that. So this must execute. We must run the code inside of the while loop. All right, so I dropped in the next line. I then ask the computer to print this all out to the console. /n doesn't print because all that means is new line. Now, once I do this, I grab user input. I assign that to choice. I say, all right, remember that choice variable? Whatever input, whatever number our user enters, whatever number input they do, choice is equal to that. Then I do next line to clear out the input object. We need it with integers, trust me. You don't always, but good practice. All right, and then not to clear out the input object, to clear out the new line character. So, no, to clear out the input product. Choice is still, though, set to it. So choice, even though we've cleared out the input, is now set to whatever the user selected. I check if it's 1. If it is 1, what do? I say, all right, what fabric do you want? And then once again, this time I use next line, which grabs the string that they enter. It's not an integer, it's a string. So I use next line for strings. All right. And then I say my couch set fabric. What does this execute? Well, my couch. What is my couch? My couch is this thing. It is a couch. So the computer then has to head over to my couch class and say, all right, set fabric. What the heck is that? And it starts poking around. Blah, schmack. And it has to run this. What's the fabric? The fabric is whatever the user gave the computer. So whatever I did on this new line, in my example, I think I did wooden at one point, that would be this. And now, inside of couch, fabric, right here, fabric update, fabric. What's this refer to? I'm saying the fabric up here. Notice it's used throughout. So the fabric that is an instance variable to the class, accessible to the class, I want to make sure to give that a value. What value am I giving it? Well, in this case, I gave it wooden, whatever one the user just entered. And then to show off all of this works, I go ahead and say, great, we have comfortable couch width, and I ask the computer to go get the fabric. Get fabric, couch, get fabric right here. Bam, and it spits it out. Now, I want to be clear, guys. Can you, look, I have the fabric right here. Would me writing that here work? Absolutely it would. That is not my point. My point is that my method, my class, functions correctly, and I can get the information from my class because I've set it correctly. Alright, that being said, full details, and I run the toString. What's toString? Couch toString. It puts out this. Now, the distinction between dresser, the main one, this is all the same, guys, is this, though. Get name. So get name, again, we head over to dresser, there's no get name. It then looks up at furniture because dresser extends, runs get furniture. It also will run set name. That's how that will work. When we do toString for dresser, it's going to run toString right here. All right, and then we hit the bottom, which is kind of hard to see, but bam, boop, that would be the while loop's end, okay? So we hit the bottom of the while loop here, and it must go back to the top. And we have to look again and ask, hey, is choice greater than or equal to 0? Well, I just entered 1, so it would be at this point. But let's say they want to quit. At this point, I enter -1. -1 would be assigned to choice. Is -1 equal to 1? No. Else if, is -1 equal to 2? No. We drop down, hit the bottom of the loop, and we go up. Oh, is -1 greater than or equal to 0? This is evaluated as false. And so therefore, it starts running the code beneath this while loop. There is none. It's just the end of the method. Put out. All right, a lot of information, a lot of code, super fast. We've done some really awesome stuff thus far in this class, and I hope you're proud of what you have done. All right, that being said, let's keep going.